everyone, I'm Heidi Blankenship and I'm a member of the 2016 ICE Resin Design team. And today I'm going to be sharing a project with you using a bezel but in a different way. A lot of times when we think of bezels we think of creating some jewelry, and I'm doing a home decor piece to share with you. So let's get started. Okay, so for the project today I want to share with you how I'm going to take one of the bezels and use it a little bit differently. Instead of using it, a lot of times when we think of a bezel we think of using it for a jewelry piece, and I am going to actually alter this little, it's kind of like a little miniature lampshade. Okay, and it just has a kind of like a Parisian print on it. And then I have like one of these battery operated candlesticks, and the bezel is going to be attached as a decorative piece on the lampshade. So I just wanted to show you a little before of that. Okay, so I'll set that off to the side. Okay, and like I said, this is the bezel that I'm going to be using, and this is one of the new Milan bezels, and it's designed by Lenart Kazmer for ICE Resin and by Ranger, and it's the antique silver large rectangle. Okay, and then you can see when the light catches it, there's kind of a decorative edge along the side here. And a really nice tool that they have created to go with all of the new bezels is this template here. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of zoom in a little bit here so you can see it a little bit better. And sorry about the glare there. I'm trying to get it so there's not too much of a glare. Okay, so you can see that there's two different rectangle shapes, and there's two squares, two hearts, and two circles. Okay, and so I'm going to be using this digital image that I just printed off, and this larger rectangle right here is going to fit inside of this bezel. Okay, so it's just a great little template, nice tool to be able to have. So I'm going to place the picture underneath here, and then I'm going to line it up exactly how I want to have that on there. And then all you have to do is just simply take a pencil and trace around the inside edge of that. Okay, and then we'll be able to trim that out, and then that will fit perfectly inside the bezel. Okay, now you can see here where I've cut out the image, and then it will fit perfectly inside the bezel. Okay, so that's ready then for me to, I'm going to put probably a couple coats of the paper sealer on top of the image in the back, and I'm also going to make sure that I go around the edges too, and that will seal in the image. If you don't use the paper sealer to seal the image in, then when you pour the ice resin on top of it, the paper will become translucent, and I want to be able to keep this image so I can see the whole entire image. Like the Paris part might show up and you might faintly be able to see the Eiffel Tower, but the Eiffel Tower is already kind of very lightly printed on there. So like I said, I'm going to cover it with the paper sealer, and then when that's drying I'm going to add some of the iced enamels, and this one here is the German silver. And so I'm going to add just a little tiny bit of that just for a little bit of accent along the side of the bezel. Okay, so I've added the paper sealer to the image that I'm using, and while that's drying I'm going to take some of the ice enamels medium, and I'm just going to put a little bit here and there around the outer edge of the bezel, and then I'm going to add some of the German silver. Okay, so just open this up, and I don't want to go around the whole entire piece, I just want to add a little bit here and there. So I'm just going to dab some of this on in a couple of spots. I just think it'll add a little bit more interest to it, and it's going to give it another texture and stuff too. So let's see, I'll add just a little tiny bit there. Okay. And then I like to use a coffee filter whenever I'm using any of the ice enamels. I just think it's a lot easier to clean it up and stuff. So I'm just going to kind of sprinkle this on here. Okay, and then I'll tap off the excess, and then I'll heat set that. Okay, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like once it's heat set. Okay, now here you can see where I have added the iced enamels, and I used the German silver, and then I wanted to add a little bit more sparkle to it, so I also added some of the silver glitz, and that's just like a really ultra fine glitter, and so I sprinkled some of that in when I was heat setting it. And then I've also added the image to the bezel, and that's been sealed with a paper sealer, and it's all dry now, so I can go ahead and start to pour the ice resin in there. And then I also wanted to show you this little tiny embellishment that I'm going to add in there. It's a very tiny little fleur-de-lis, and normally I don't use gloves when I'm using the ice resin. It's just, you know, it's an optional if you want to use gloves or not. But for this little piece here, I'm going to coat it with the ice resin before I actually place it in the ice resin, and that will help so that there won't be some air bubbles around it and stuff. So that's why I have a glove on, because it's really tiny and it'll be a lot easier to hold on to this and add some resin to it. So I have some resin that I've already mixed up, and I'm just going to start to add some of the resin here. I'm just going to kind of get a little coat of the resin down in here first. I'll use a little stir stick to kind of move that around. Get it into the corners. Okay, and then once I've got this all in the corners here, then I'm going to take the little fleur-de-lis charm, and I'm going to add some resin to this before I actually place it in there. To pick it up with this hand, it's hard to hold on to things with these gloves on. So I'm just going to get a little bit here on there, and then I'm just going to kind of rub it on the front and the back. I'm just going to add some resin to it. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and turn it around. I'm just going to add that down in the corner there. Okay. Okay, and then I'm just going to use this little, it's like a paper piercer, but it has like a needle tip on it. So I'm just going to kind of move that around in there, and I can clean this off real easily. So I have that in there. Okay, and then I'm going to fill it the rest of the way, and I'm going to also add a little bit of the silver glass glitter. Just a little bit here and there. I don't want too much because I don't want it to distract from the bezel and cover up like the Eiffel Tower and where it says Paris. But I'll just add a few little bits and pieces of it in there, and then finish. Okay, here's a look at the finished project. It's a little hard to show the whole entire thing here in the video, but I wanted to give you a look at the finished bezel, and I'm using this to decorate this kind of little mini lampshade here. Just something different to do with your bezels. A lot of times when we think of a bezel, we think of doing jewelry pieces with it. So I just wanted to make a little home decor piece. I'm going to slide this out of here. This is just one of the little like a battery operated candlestick, and then I added some of the iced enamels at the base of this too, just so everything would kind of match and stuff. So here's another look at this. If you would like to see more of my design work, you can check out my blog at embellishedreams.blogspot.com, and you can also check out the Ice Resin blog at iceresin.com for more inspiration from the design team. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.